So all of a sudden this asshole who's only had 2 lines so far is a character now. And I guess he's evil or something. Why is he evil? I don't know, he just is. So he begins to clamp down on the SSS now that he's been made student president since Angel's been demoted. Did I just say that? But for some reason they don't shoot him in the fucking face like they did to Angel, because they believe he's an NPC. So the shooting of Angels is fine and dandy, but just don't hurt the old guy in the cave from Zelda. You know, it's said that to kill a mockingbird is a terrible crime because they do no one any harm. But if these assholes got within 10 feet of one, they'd probably fucking eat it. So anyway, this entire character is one of the most baffling parts of the whole show for me. I can't even remember his name, and you know what? I don't even care enough to look it up. He's as pointless and redundant as a TV for the blind, or a car for a woman. He serves no purpose in the story whatsoever and is just yet another excuse to stop the plot so that we can yet again have another ridiculously drawn out, emotionally manipulative scene that serves no purpose in the story and does nothing at all. Seriously, this guy just shows up, is revealed to be human, then an evil human, then goes and has an emotional breakdown, tells his entire life history to a bunch of idiots, and becomes good all in the space of 10 minutes. Then he just fades into the background and does nothing at all for the rest of the show. This episode and this character serve no purpose in the story at all. I mean, except maybe later he helps Otonashi get some of his memories back. But why did we need him for that? Otonashi could have just remembered on his own, which is something that actually happens later on when he gets his full memory back. I'm not trying to be funny or a smartass here. I genuinely have no idea what the point was or what the hell happened in this episode. Here's a list of all the things I don't understand. If you get it, then you're obviously a smarter man than I am. Number 1. How can he use glowing eyes hypnosis, and why does it work on NPCs when they're not real human beings? Can he hypnotize anything? Like a chair or a coffee cup? Number 2. What was his plan? Why did he shoot all the SSS? They'll just get up again in like 10 minutes and kick his ass, so who cares? Did he want them to move on? Why? Because his brother died instead of him, and then he took on his identity, and then he died somehow too? What was this, the Kennedy family? So how does shooting them help them move on? If he was smart, he would have kidnapped them one at a time and then brain raped them? Why did he do all this? I need... Number 3. Where did he get all the guns and ammo? Does he have a huge underground city too? Or is there just a Kmart nearby? Number 4. Why did he have to wait for Angel to be removed from office for him to launch his attack? What if she never was? Why didn't he just have his hypno goon things throw her in jail like 10 years ago? Or whenever. In fact, Angel's so fucking stupid, you probably could have just said, Hey you, walk into that cell over there. I'll give you a surprise if you do. And she would have just done it. Heck, a trail of sweets would have got her in there too. Number 5. He says he spent years building that cell, so that means he's been planning this for years. But then he abandons it after one punch and some shouting from some random idiot. Whoa. Just whoa. I honestly don't know if Meta just thinks we're stupid, or this is just the worst writing ever. But you know what? I think I know the answer to all these questions. It's fuck the story, fuck the characters, I want a scene where Otonashi shouts cliche lines in the rain. I am certain that Maeda had this scene in his head but couldn't find a way to work it into the story, so he just created a random villain and a hackney rush plot to showcase it. All these episodes and everything that happens is just pointless filler to get us from one emotional scene to the next for no reason. Yet people like this crap. I put the blame for this squarely on Jun Maeda. One only has to look at his other works to see the same problems plaguing them. In fact, let's quickly look at one now. I fucking hate this anime with every fibre of my being. But, for some reason, a lot of people seem to really like this series. Now, I can see people liking the sequel, Clannad After Story. That was a pretty fucking awesome series. But the original is god-awful. Now, I know what you're thinking. What right do I have to tell people whether this series is good or bad? Or say that liking it makes you an idiot, or that not liking it makes you intelligent? That style of thinking is just wrong. Except, of course, in this instance, people who like Clannad are, by definition, morons. Seriously, it's true. It's in the Bible. Check it out. Paragraph 4, verse 2 of John's second letter to Comiket. What was I talking about? Oh yes. What I wanted to get across is how many of the problems present in Angel Beats are on show in HD in Clannad. All of them stemming from Maeda's writing, which, while I can see appealing to some people, I just don't see how it could appeal to anyone who's not a 14-year-old girl. You see, as far as I can tell, Clannad had one aim, and it wasn't to tell a good story or create interesting characters. It was to tug at audiences' heartstrings so much that they would be bawling by the end of this series, whilst shoving in as much moe crap as humanly possible. Now, this isn't inherently a bad thing. Many shows have been created with this goal in mind. The problem is that Clannad went about it in such a clumsy and caveman-like way that it was actually a death sentence for the whole show. Rather than make these characters feel like real people and give them realistic problems to face and overcome, Clannad instead opted for backstories that make even Greek tragedies look like the fucking Teletubbies. It's emotional manipulation on a masterful level, and it really is quite a sight to behold and wonder at. The attempts to make us care for these one-dimensional characters are so obvious and over the top that it unfortunately means that the whole show ends up feeling utterly contrived, horribly unrealistic, and at times just outright stupid. Maeda completely sacrifices any sort of realism associated with this genre, the slice of life genre, in favour of trying to artificially invoke more emotions from the viewer with unbelievable and outrageously melodramatic storylines. These tragic backstories for these various characters' pasts are so contrived that at times it feels like a competition between them to see which one can be more ridiculous and unrealistic. It's a competition that is eventually won by this girl, and a backstory involving a teddy bear and her parents' death and a plane crash and some fire and a house burning down and her dog gets shot by Nazi communist terrorists, I think. Hey morons, this isn't Schindler's List, it's a fucking high school romance story. These characters don't have to have the most outrageous and terrible backstories ever for us to care for them, you know? Just make them feel like real people, give them real problems, and we can relate and we'll care. Okay? You got it? Why do I even bother? So hopefully now you're starting to see some of the resemblances to Angel Beats. There's ridiculously over-the-top tragedy, cardboard cutout characters that are set up simply to be swept aside the next episode, subplots that go nowhere, everything being just filler to get us from one emotional scene to the next, heartless scenes, forced romance, a bland main character designed as a self-insert for the viewer. And it's not just Clannad. The worst part of all is that it's in every single Maeda work ever. Air, Clannad, Canon, Angel Beats, and all that piece of shit Little Busters, it's just the same goddamn thing, only packaged a little differently. It's always about a bunch of high school students who form a club, and it uses comedy to lull you into a false sense of security before dropping a tragedy bomb on your head. It's astonishing that people haven't picked up on this. I mean, every single one is exactly the fucking same. There is no difference. Just cosmetic little changes here and there. It changes the name of the characters or changes their hair colour. That's it.
You know, as a viewer, I'm getting really sick of having to watch the same crap again and again, just a little different. I feel like Bill Murray, you know, in that movie where he's trapped in the same day and has to keep reliving it? What was that one called? Oh yes, it was Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Okay, anyway, back to the story of Angel Beats. Oh shit, I can't do any more episodes. I think I'll just sum up the rest of the story like this.
Meanwhile, in stately idiot manner, a dynamic team of morons continue to screw up in every way possible. When we last left them, our heroes were trapped in a story that goes nowhere, not even making sense to the people who wrote it. Could this be a death worse than fate? And what of Otanashi? Will he develop as a character? Will he undergo any type of arc at all? Can the story stick to one thing and stop jumping around like a cricket on crack? Will anything in this series make sense? And most important of all, who gives a fuck? Tune in next week to find out. Same crap time, same crap channel. Preview.
The answer's no. So on my doctor's orders, I have to stop talking about this damn story, or I'll end up 6 feet under, working in a mine. So let's take a quick look at another baffling character, Angel herself. To this day, I still don't understand anything about her or her motivations. Nothing she does makes even the tiniest bit of sense to me. This is either due to the fact that she is just naturally a very mysterious person, or that these guys couldn't write their way out of a children's essay competition. Very little is ever revealed about her, despite being a main character. We are never given any clue as to why she did the things she did. Like, for example, why she felt compelled to force people to move on to the point where she fought wars against them. I don't care how bad you are at communicating with people, there's no way you could let things get this mixed up and not say, hey, you know what? This stabbing people idea isn't really working. Maybe I should try something different. You see, a lot of the problems of this series are with motivations. Everyone is motivated to build underground cities and weapons based on an idiot's reasoning. People spill their darkest secrets at the drop of a hat, and this angel is dedicated her life to forcing people to move on, all for no fucking conceivable reason.
While we're on the subject of Angel and how everything she says or does makes no sense, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I can tell, Angel was stuck in this world due to the fact that her regret was not being able to thank the person who donated the heart that saved her, right? And that person was Otanashi, right? But my problem is that in order for him to donate his heart to Angel, he would have had to have been dead and Angel alive, correct? I mean, they don't give heart transplants to corpses now, do they? Which means he died a long time before Angel did. Okay? If that's true, then why does he show up in this world years after Angel has been there? If he died first, shouldn't he have been there long before her, rather than much later? You see what I mean by none of this makes any sense? I mean, in episode 6, this asshole says that he spent years building a cell for her, implying that she has been there for years, so how the fuck does that work out?
But, you know, maybe I'm just overthinking things. After all, this is supposed to be purgatory, so maybe time just doesn't matter here. Do you know where else time doesn't matter? British Rail. Bastards.